I was saying, Joy Taylor, every dog has its day. And since I'm a big dog, I've got 2 days.
Okay.
So now.
You just called yourself a dog?
Yeah, I'm a dog. Yeah, I'm a big dog, a big one.
Kevin Durant is 6'11", who can pull up from 40.
Okay.
This brother is on that level. I'm talking about offensively.
Do you think you're better than Jarrell Revis is right now?
I'm better than you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Lowdown Podcast. I'm your host, Mark Brown. As always, this is episode number 56, and I got a special guest on the show. And speaking of special, this is a special edition episode where this episode is a little bit outside of sports, but not really. The reason why I say not really is because he's a former athlete, played college football at Houston Baptist University on a full-ride scholarship, went to Katy High School, and those that are from the Houston area, Katy's a dominant force when it comes to football. His name is Raymond Randle. I call him my cousin because I've known him since birth. His dad and my dad have been best friends for over 40 years. So there's that. I just wanted to say. And then, before I announce him, this is what he's also done. So after football, this guy, he's studying finance right now at the University of Houston, by the way, and he has his own merchandise, and it's called Saved by Christ Apparel. Has over 31,000 followers on Instagram. His merch is blowing up as I speak. It's blowing up. I saw it from the beginning, and he had, whenever he first started, I remember, within the first month or so, he had about a little bit over 2,000, 3,000 followers. Now it's over 30,000, man. They're making a killing out of it, and you love to see it. You don't hate to see it. You love to see it. Hate it or love it, like 50 Cent. But here he is, Raymond Randle. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, Mark?
Hey, man, I'm doing good as always, man. And in fact, I got you on here, man. My day just got even better, because I'm talking about this Saved by Christ Apparel. I'm feeling good right now. So starting off, man. So what prompted you to come up with this idea of Saved by Christ Apparel? So give us a rundown of how it all started.
So it all started second semester of my semester playing football at Houston Baptist. I was in the winter break and I went on a Christian retreat. Shout out to Barry Bolin with crew. And I went to this college retreat in Dallas, and it was talking about the different gifts that God gives people to give glory to him. And I just felt that I had other gifts that God gave me to, glorify him other than what was going on in football. And then so I decided to, dive into myself and take those gifts and dig into my inner Mamba mentality.
Hey.
And take that competitive nature and go ahead in the business route and then make that business dedicated to God. So that's how it started.
Well said, man. Well said. It's always good to have a backup plan, right? And that's a prime example. Raymond's a prime example of following your dreams. Even when your main dream doesn't work out, there's always a backup plan. God has a plan for all of us, and he's sure showing it through Raymond as well with the Saved by Christ Apparel. And by the way, so I forgot to shout out the Instagram account. So let them know real quick. What's the Instagram account, the Instagram @ name for Saved by Christ Apparel and for Twitter?
My Instagram @ is Saved by Christ Apparel. And the Twitter is also Saved by Christ Apparel.
There you go. So don't forget it. Saved by Christ Apparel. That's real easy. Real easy to remember that. And plus, when you guys listen to it, I'm going to mention it multiple times in this episode because that's how big it is. And all you got to do, and there's a website too. The website is Saved by Christ Apparels. It's plural. SavedByChristApparels.com, and that's where you can purchase all your merchandise. Where they go from hoodies to T-shirts. So many different brands. Like for example, there's one I'm looking at right now. It says God is fighting for us. There's another one saying Make Heaven Crowded, Redeemed, and there's Jesus Christ, Just Pray. Those are prime examples. There's so many. It was initially saved at the beginning, but now they got so many different themes on each shirt. So and then plus there's so many different color combinations. You can customize it online. They have bracelets now. There's hoodies, there's long sleeves. The list goes on.
Yep, you're right, Mark. Whatever we can do in this realm of clothing or fashion to make you look good, and go out and have a conversation with someone about God. That's what we're here for.
Exactly. And then another thing I wanted to ask you was, how long did it take you to plot this out? Because I know this is a big deal for you. How long did it take you to come up with this idea, transitioning from playing college football to doing this?
Honestly, part of how I could say it, I believe this was just God's plan for me. Was I really didn't plan this out. It was a random, sporadic moment that just came to me, and something I wanted to try out, and things took off and just kept going from there. So all glory to God in that aspect. I really hadn't planned it out from the beginning, but as I've been growing, I've taken time to, sit back and really take time, pray about it, plan and strategize things out. But yeah, I didn't really plan this from the beginning. It was just kind of a thing that God just put in my footsteps.
And usually that's the best way to go right there. That's the best plan right there. Whenever it happens sporadically, just like you said, like when you don't really have it, you really don't have it in mind, it just happens, right? Those are usually the best things in life, when things just come whenever you don't expect it. Those are usually the best feelings right there. And I know for a fact, like you are in a good feeling knowing that it's gone this far. I mean, you started roughly, actually, it's been 2 years, right? It's been 2 years.
It'll be 2 years in a month, yeah.
Yep, I remember March 2018. I remember that 'cause I remember you started posting about it on Instagram. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? And then I jumped right into it. I made sure I purchased some gear like during the first year you had it. And as a matter of fact, the fact that I'm talking to you right now, I'm gonna have to purchase some more gear now. You got me on it, right? I gotta get more. I gotta get more of this, man. Especially since it's customized. Yeah, I'm just really proud of you, man. I'm just really happy. I'm genuinely happy to see how far you're going with this.
Thank you, Mark.
Oh, anytime. And so, like, another thing is, so while at it, so when you started the website, you started your own label and everything. So tell us, like, how many shoppers do you guys usually get? Like, how many people purchase this equipment? Now, I wouldn't say equipment, but this gear. Would you say it's like very high? Do you guys reach a high volume of customers now compared to 2 years ago, or how much has it changed since you first started?
Well, Mark, when I first started, I started locally within my community in Katy, Texas, and selling to, the kids that I mentor through my high school ministry crew and the kids around in my area. And at this point, 2 years later, God has brought us so far. We've had over, I'd say, 3,000 different customers, and we've shipped to every single continent on the world. So just to say that there's a piece of clothing that God allowed me to make with his message on it to touch the whole entire world. I mean, it means a lot of how God can bring you from, something that you didn't even think was possible to just touching the whole world and in his name. So, it's an honor.
It really is, man. I know for a fact it sounds like an honor just listening to you say that, and to see like you guys, because I know you guys have certain photographers too that take the pictures and everything, or how's that work?
Yes. So I've had a fair share of photographers within my community and church groups and people I've met along the way, and have models from my high school ministry that I work with, classmates, things like that. Just networking around and giving people different opportunities to take part in this movement and to help us spread our message.
And I'm looking through the photos right now, man. I'm looking through the photos from start to finish, and you can just see how much it's changed, like how much it's evolved since you first started. Because the first pics, don't get me wrong, they were really impressive. But looking at it today, it's like, man, this entire outlook has just grown so much. And it hasn't even been 2 years exactly. And to see it grow that fast, man, that shows you how much you can progress, how one can progress in a short amount of time.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I started this business when I was 19 years old, and I'm 21 years old now. And we have come a long way. A lot of people would think like this was a fully grown person out of college or whatever running this business. I'm still young and learning myself. I just say again, like, it's an honor. Glory to God that he's allowed me to, grow and progress so much myself, but the brand and the business as well.
Exactly. So how were you feeling when you first started? Were you confident? Because it sure showed. Like I could tell that the quality of like the amount of different sayings, like for example, like the amount of different themes, like for example, saved, and then I see free became a new thing, and then I am destined, and it started just to continue to grow. And I noticed like different models will come on here, and I will see the same ones here and there. But to see, like you said, that shows proof that it's grown, and then you branched it out from one area globally. So that shows you how powerful technology is today. If you want to be an entrepreneur, Raymond Randle is a prime example of being a young college student, taking care of business, and utilizing technology and everything he can to spread the message. And it's sure showing. I mean, think about 31,000 followers. One of these days, we're going to look at 100,000 followers. He's going to be here much faster than you think. And who knows? Maybe you'll get an interview on the Breakfast Club with Charlamagne and all those guys.
Thanks again, Mark. I'd like to say that, if you put your trust in God, and you pitch your plans to glorify Him at the end, anything is possible. I personally myself didn't think I'd be this far, but I knew when God gave me the idea to get young believers, all believers really, out in public, and to be bold about their faith and to talk about God in public. And I started to see that come to fruition, that God had a plan for this, and that it wasn't going to backfire. So if you personally believe strongly and you're passionate about anything, you can take whatever it is that you're passionate about and make that a business, and be successful with it, as long as you give it all to God, give God the glory, and you pray and you ask for His guidance and things. A lot of the mentality that I have comes from Kobe again. Shout out to the Mamba mentality, but just from playing sports and transitioning that to having a drive and being passionate about business or anything, you can be successful as long as you're passionate and you're driven to it and you're giving God the glory.
Well said right there, man. Well said. And another thing is knowing that, because you're the main guy, right? You're the creator of this, or I would say CEO of this entire ordeal. And then you also have one of your good friends. His name is Clayton, right? Is he like the co-owner, or how does that work? Like, is it mainly you? Is it all to you, or you also have like a co-owner just in case?
I am the CEO and the owner and the founder. But my good friends Clayton Odom III and Felipe Alvier, when I first started, helped me out modeling and going through Bible studies and digging and trying to find scriptures to use. They really helped me along the way, and I wouldn't be where I am today without those two guys.
Man, huge shout out to them, because I noticed that too. I noticed they were the main two guys that were also in the majority of the pictures besides you. And and it's just like I said, it's a blessing to see somebody just grow, like just evolve as time goes on. Like, you see them progress. You see, especially because it's bold. It's very bold of you to come up with an idea like this. And the fact that it's grown, that shows that you were persistent with it, and that shows that you persevered through all, because I know at the beginning it must have been like, oh, we're just going to just show this around our community here in Katy. Hopefully a few classmates here and there will come and pinch in. But now, like you said, it is global. I saw it from the start, and here I am today, seeing you just progress even further, and you're not even done with college yet. I mean, that's going to look really good on your resume, and ultimately, it's going to look really good in God's eyes, because you're spreading God's message globally, and that's the most important. I feel like that's the most important takeaway to have right there, is to spread His message and not these earthly, materialistic messages.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. There's a lot of negative messages being spread around in media today, of hate. You see racism and many worldly things that are being put in our eyes and trying to influence us. I just wanted to combat that, all the hate and the negativity in the world, and put out God's message and God's message of love to combat that, because in the end, His light overcomes all. So, those in the darkness, as long as they can see one little sign of God's love, such as I'm destined. They say I'm destined. That person could be going through depression, feeling suicidal, whatever that may mean. They could see that I'm destined. What does that mean? And then they look at the verse, Jeremiah 29:11. They don't have a Bible. They could Google it and see, that God has a plan for their life, see that God cherishes them. They might not even know that God exists, but as long as I plant that seed, or anybody plants that seed, you could save a soul, you could save a life for eternity. So that was my whole mission there.
Exactly, because that afterlife obviously is eternal, meaning that it's everlasting. It's never going to go away. So it's why it's really important to spread the message of positivity to this world alone. Like you said, you did a great description of that, of how media today just comes off negative, unless it's like sports or something like that. But like in everything else that exists, it just seems like the media just always spreads, like, for example, the coronavirus or the bushfires. I mean, there's a lot of bad things going on in this world. It's always been that way. But, like, whenever, like you said, whenever something good happens, they don't really express it as much. But, like, usually the good outweighs the bad. And it's always going to be that way. And just to see Saved by Christ Apparel just grow continuously really, really impresses me. I'm just, like I said, I'm just glad that I was able to see it start from the start. And I just can't wait to see how far it goes. So do you have any, like, for example, like, speaking of, futuristic things, where do you see yourself in the next 2 years with this entire, business?
Hopefully, prayerfully,